All right, we are live. Milan Inter derby just wrapped up. Milan with a 1-0 victory over Inter. Christian Pulisic with the game-winning goal. But Mike Maignan, my goodness, man of the match, Magic Mike. He has been incredible this season, just as good as his first season with Milan. Just absolutely tremendous today. 6 straight unbeaten in the derby for Milan. Absolutely unfathomable thought after what we saw just about 18 months ago, Matt. But Milan have beaten Inter, Napoli, and Roma to start this season. Let's get into it. Just the result is massive. It does not matter. I know Inter had some absences. They were missing those chances, or if you want to call them misses, within that first half. Huge job by the Rossoneri to pick up the 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's goes without saying, this is obviously the derbies are always very, very vital. And, they could kind of, as we mentioned in the podcast leading up to this game, those are the pendulum swinging matches, if you will, right? And, when you go based off the fact that Milan had previously so much issue and so many difficulties with Inter, not recently, guys. I mean, Milan have overturned this in about a span of a year, right? Where now there's like that growing confidence going into these games. Yes, the personnel changes on both sides. Yes, the coaches change on both sides. But psychologically, when you have players heading into this game and they say, well, we haven't won in this many games, that many games, that pressure mounts, and Milan feel confident going into games like this. And I think it was perfect, the fact that we got Tomori back, Rabiot back, the decision to start Bartesaghi over Estupiñán, and we got guys back at the right time in such a pivotal game, and you saw it all play out in this one. Now, obviously, Milan did have their troubles in the first half, which obviously we will unpack and get into more deeper. But the way that Milan were able to somehow navigate those treacherous moments in this match, somehow getting to the halfway point of the game, 0-0, I thought was a win for them, because Inter had the better looks in the first half. Milan really looked like they were disorganized. They looked like they were kind of in panic mode, and they really were kind of just looking to keep things, in the back defensively and tidy. Yeah. They got to that. They had that moment, right? On the counter. Pulisic and Rafa, we'll talk about it, obviously, too. Pulisic and Rafa were being out physicaled. That's not a word, but I think the physicality was weighing on them in the first half of this game. So you knew they were going to need those counter-attacking moments, and they got it. They got it through Pulisic, and credit to Pulisic for being alert and at the back post to get that save off the deflection. It was huge.
It was I have to say, ironically, Yusuf Fofana did a good job on that goal. Yeah. I have to give the guy some credit. He was awful outside of that, just completely terrible. It just doesn't look like he cares half the time. But yeah, it was a great job. Salamakers even having that, and it was very funny because they had that combined 11 that the One Football posted, and it had Jan Sommer in goal. And I was arguing with someone shocking on TikTok about it and how they were saying that Sommer was better. If Mike Maignan did what Jan Sommer did on that goal, you would never hear the end of it. Mike Maignan today showed why he is levels to what Jan Sommer is. Yeah, and I thought it was an interesting duo up top. I don't think they necessarily work together in a match like this against Inter. Inter is a really difficult opponent when it's Leao and Pulisic like that. I don't think either player was terrible, but I don't think they were put in positions to succeed. Pulisic doing a great job, obviously crashing. It's all you need, especially, and I brought this up on Twitter. It's big to overcome those 2 recent misses in his recent appearances. Yeah. I'm sorry, like everyone's like, oh, it's because he was injured. It's not about the injury stuff. It's about the mental scarring of missing a penalty against Juve. And then after that, when you return from an injury, you're missing a sitter against Parma. Rallying and scoring, it doesn't matter how the ball goes in the back of the net. Doing that against Inter in a derby where you have to pick up the 3 points, this was nothing short of great for Milan. The result is great. This is all fantastic. And they're overcoming penalties. They're overcoming incredible chances for Inter. You almost felt like once Milan escaped out of that first half with those Lautaro and Thuram chances, that the pressure shifted significantly to Inter's direction for the simple fact of this. That has been the story in recent derbies for Inter. Out creating Milan, having golden opportunities to go multiple goals up, on top of the fact that they were up in multiple derbies, one including obviously the Supercoppa, where they just completely get undressed. And it looks like their mental focus is moving. Kivu, I thought, was rough today with substitutions. I did not understand the Andy Diouf sub to take off Barella. I thought Barella was probably Inter's best player next to Acerbi. I thought they put in good shifts as well as Akanji. I don't think Inter was overly great, impressive today. I thought this was just a back and forth nails type of derby where whoever takes their chances is going to come out victorious. And that's ultimately what happened for Milan today. They took advantage of the one opportunity in which Jan Sommer messed up, and they scored. That's it. Hakan missing that penalty, not a great taken penalty by him. He's usually far better than that. But how about also, Matt, the turnaround? Felt like Maignan forever could not save a penalty. He gets his second straight penalty save against Inter here. Magic Mike, man of the match. Like, this was just the most obvious one. Kudos to him. Kudos to Mike. He was great.
He was sensational. And I think, obviously, there's been so much discussion surrounding his future, right? Everyone was saying we should have moved on, we should have sold him. And I think, what did we consistently reiterate and hammer home at every turn when we had a conversation surrounding Mike Maignan on this podcast was it could be a Gigio Donnarumma situation where, he's worth more on your team if he's able to help you get into a top 4 spot or win a Scudetto. And you look at performances like this, if we go to the end of the season, Martino, and those in the comments, and we see that Milan got to top 4 and maybe it was done and achieved narrowly, or even better, if they were to somehow win a Scudetto, and you look to moments like this, you would say, was it worth it to keep Mike Maignan for maybe 15 to 20 million, whatever we would have gotten for him if he sold them with a year left on his contract? The answer is yes, because of performances and the ability and the capability in his game to pull off heroics like he did today. And it wasn't even just the penalty attempt, right? Where you have one of the best penalty takers as far as conversion goes in Hakan. He's nails from
He's one of the best ball strikers in the world.
One of the best ball strikers. Mike Maignan, despite the recent penalty save, he has a proven track record of being very poor with penalties, right? And you get those two together and you're looking at like, okay, Mike has it. He's confident here. And they showed up the graphic too on the broadcast where his last 5 penalty attempts, Hakan, have won to the left side. So Mike Maignan's right side. And the other one was obviously to the other side. So you kind of like, okay, he's probably going to go the same way. And penalties can be a guessing game. But I think as you start to see enough of a penalty taker, you have an understanding of where he feels more confident. And I mean, he had that lockdown. That's an absolute crucial save. But everything else, I mean, very early on in this game, getting back to the first half, Martino.
Yeah.
This game could have been 1 or 2-0. And that's the mark of what having a great top-level goalkeeper can do for you, because they could keep you in games. And when you're not on your best performance for 45-plus minutes like Milan weren't in this game, you get that vote of confidence, that confidence swirls and builds up saying, we got that guy back here that's bailed us out. Let's give him something. Let's make it count. Let's make it worth something in the end. And that's exactly what Milan did with Mike Maignan's heroics and goal. So man of the match performance from him, hands down. And again, this is the type of performance that he is truly capable of. I know he's had his moments over the last year plus, but when you have a guy like that and back and he's your captain, man, it feels very sweet to see Mike Maignan save and deny Hakan.
He's just been great. I mean, I think I tweeted out like a while back, like sell Mike in January, only because of the situation with his contract. Like, just dude, Forlani has so much egg on his face. Like, Tade should just be going back right now. Like, Mike, we're so sorry. What do you want? He's 30. Like, at the end of the day, I think Milan should be keeping their best players, and he's invaluable in matches like this, right? Because how many times did I say this actually a couple podcasts ago as well? Like, Mike is saving you, not saving you multiple points. He's winning you points here, right? So we could say, Inter hit the post, a little bit unfortunate with Lautaro, Acerbi, whatever you want to say with them, but he's still saving the penalty. Instead of a draw here where Roma could gain some distance, where Napoli could gain some distance, Mike is collecting those extra 2 points with his saves today. That's where he's becoming invaluable. And I just think the traits that Milan have had so far this year when fully healthy with their 11, which has really not been often, there's a different hero almost every single time. I think obviously the noticeable difference with Rabiot today, and I wanted to kind of move on with him because I think Rabiot is just almost every single time, when Milan are kind of defending the way that they did today at the end, where you're like, oh my God, get the ball out, clear it, please, like something. Let when Boni skied that ball, I was like, okay, we're winning, it's done. I don't think that they have it. the calmness that you have when Rabiot gets the ball at your own 18-yard box and the clearances. Like I feel like when Fofana is on the ball, you're nervous, right? Your heart rate increases astronomically. When Modric and Rabiot are on the ball like that, you don't feel nervy. You know that they're going to make the right decision 99 times out of 100. And I just think that's so invaluable when you're grinding out the matches like they did against Inter and obviously like they did against Napoli. That's where it matters. And now this victory is great. This makes up for, not entirely makes up for, but it's a big boost after dropping points against the sides of Cremonese, Pisa, right? And Parma. That doesn't completely negate it, but what do we say all the time? If you're dropping points against sides like that, you have to win in the other matches against the top sides to try and somewhat negate it a little bit. Because Milan's record against the top three is 9 points, 3 of 3.
Yeah.
Okay? Outside of themselves. You can't count themselves. But that matters. Very close to beating Juve. All this side needs is health and to put their foot on the gas against the lesser sides in Serie A. If they're able to do that, Milan can win this title. Ultimately, it's still very early in the season. We are in late November. But at the same time, you see it in the big matches. They have it. They have that moniker that you're like, they're going to take advantage when they can. And like Inter's still the best team in this league, in my opinion. But today was just really about grinding out results and that mental resolve. I think that's something Milan have shown traits of, but you just need to see it against the lesser sides. Pretty much what I'm getting at. But 6 derbies unbeaten, Sant'Angelo. See, that's a lot. It looked like we were never going to win one again. And now they haven't lost one in 6 tries. And they were big underdogs today, plus 300.
Yeah, I mean, I think the getting back to Rabiot and Modric, I actually didn't think that they had their best games for Milan.
No.
I think that there were a couple moments in this match, especially the second half, like the last 10 minutes, where you're looking for Milan at that point, like play defensive, play smart with the ball. If you're facing any amount of pressure, just hoof it deep. Just hoof it deep. Don't give the ball away cheaply in your own end, because it was one derby last year. I'm pretty sure, I forgot who scored, where Milan gave away the ball cheaply, 1-0, and they scored a late equalizer, and it was a 1-1 draw. I think it was maybe the first one. Was it the first one or second one?
Yeah, you're talking about
I forget who scored the goal, but it was
somebody. It hit off of the back of somebody. Someone's back. I know what you're talking about. It was the last one in Serie A, correct? In February.
Yeah, we actually played pretty well, and we were like, okay, we're going to win this game.
I didn't think we played that well in that. Inter had tons of opportunities.
I forgot who scored the goal, but
I'll find that in a moment.
Point being, like, that's where the finer details and like locking in. Everyone says that's a whole phrase nowadays. People say like let's lock in, and the last 10 minutes, Milan locked
in the 93rd minute.
Yes, it was like, and it was avoidable. And I was like cautiously optimistic that this team, this sort of the DNA of this team was going to prevail and we were going to see this one out. But you never know. And there was one moment where Rabiot actually had the ball. He kept holding it, tried to shield the guy. And then he gave the ball away to Barella. And I was like, dude, just hoof the ball deep, because those things turn into goals quickly. But credit to the guys. I mean, you even bailing out Pavlovic, who I thought had a pretty good game. Tomori in his return, I thought was pretty strong on the right side of the back three. And Bartesaghi, right? Bartesaghi, let's talk about him for a little bit, right? Because, that was a big, the talking point heading up into this game was, did we want to go Estupinian on that position, or did we want to go with Bartesaghi? It's a great moment for him. I didn't think he had this sensational game, but like, could you have asked for much more from a teenager in his first derby start? He had some dangerous crosses in from the left side, really good precision too. I think like that's an element of his game that I absolutely love, is that him going forward, he's not this fleet of foot, very pacey player, but he's a player that is very difficult to dispossess because he is built more of like a center back, and he does deliver very dangerous crosses in with that left foot. And we highlighted that in previous episodes too, in some of his finer performances, right? So again, like you can maybe point to players who performed a little bit better in this game than others. Like we said, Fofana, and you said this guy and that guy, but you think like the collective to get a 1-0 clean sheet in a derby like this, where this was actually the away derby for Milan. And I know it's at the same venue, but again, like psychologically too, like Inter had the fan advantage, right? They had the atmosphere advantage, right? The whole like presentation and the pre-warm-ups and all those sorts of things were in Inter's corner, right? The fact that Milan get 1-0 at this game, they played a pretty clean second half. Yes, a team like Inter is going to get those moments to score, but Milan didn't break. And again, it just had moments from every single individual player, even the players that haven't been performing that great. As you mentioned, Martino Fofana, I thought he had some moments in this game where, again, like taking those deep chances that he shouldn't have, and just instead of holding the ball, but he had moments in that build up to the Pulisic goal. He had moments where the legs looked tired down the stretch of this game. And I was kind of looking to Allegri saying, like, there's clear visibility of fatigue with these guys. And Fofana was one of those last guys that I saw running quite a bit. So again, like, it's tough to measure those sorts of things in a performance. And even Ruben Loftus-Cheek, right? Just being able to give you that little engine to bring the ball forward, kill some more time, bring that pressure away from you. Everyone, I feel like, did a little bit of something to help the cause in this game. So yeah, I mean, this is a great feeling to win a derby, to get this derby victory off the international break after blowing it against Parma is massive too.
Sorry, big Mets trade. Brandon Nimmo got sent to the Rangers for Marcus Semien. Anyways, I said Brandon Nimmo would go to the Rangers. Anyway, I have receipts. Sorry. It's my day. Anyways, yeah, I mean, Fofana in moments. I guess that's kind of basically what you want to see from certain players, right? Because all the time the inverse happens. Someone puts in a really good 90-minute shift, but it's just a moment or two of a lapse where you're like, oh, that's all we're gonna remember. So yeah. Yeah, can you just talk about this right now?
I know you're good.
Oh,
you got your Mets stuff going on.
How about our guy here? How about our guy, Captain America? This is just a moment that further cements his legacy as the greatest American to ever play this sport as of today.
You know what's funny too is, like, as petty as it may sound, because obviously a goal against Inter from him is very sweet. Instinctual to follow up that deflection and be in the right position for it. It was very similar to the goal that Morata scored against Real Madrid last year at the Bernabeu, where ball comes in, gets spilled over to him, and it's like, people might say, well, usually that's a tap-in goal, but you have to be in the right position. We've seen players just simply not follow up those chances and not crash the box. And Pulisic was right on top of that for a simple. He's had a couple of those too in a Milan shirt, by the way, which is the mark of an instinctual player that knows where to be to capitalize on mistakes. So the goal wasn't anything remarkable, but the fact that this player has shown in derbies that he can raise the game and raise the bar for Milan is a massive feeling as an Italian American in this country, where we're seeing a player like this, thrive at a big club and a club that we love and support, right? But I also love to see it when there was people who were criticizing him for sitting out during the summer, and, well, he's not this player, he feels entitled, he thinks he's better than everybody else. And then you realize, like, no, there's levels to this, and you clearly need this player to do anything at this World Cup next summer. And he gets a goal in a derby like this, and he's producing despite playing out of position. He's been going under 4 coaches now. You had Pioli, you had Fonseca, you had Sergio Conceição, now you have Allegri. You've had a bevy of different formations too, where he's called to play on the left, on the right, as a second striker in a 2-strike formation this season, and he's getting goals, he's getting assists. I don't know if there's anything else people can really say about him, but since he arrived at Milan, I think it's pretty clear that he's been Milan's best attacking player, most consistent attacking player. Maybe not the most talented, because I think maybe Rafa's still above him as far as raw ability. But when you look at performances like this, he's doing it in massive games. He's not doing it against minnows. He's doing it against those teams sometimes, but he's stepping up in derbies. He had the derby goal last year. He's in the right positions. He's a smart player, and he knows where to be to make an impact. And you saw today.
Yeah. To me, I'm just like, you know how I am. When I see a win like this, my mind immediately goes to Pisa, Cremonese, and the others. I just can't. It's so frustrating. But now this is where Milan have to propel themselves even further. This is a difficult fixture against Lazio next week. Lazio have been playing well recently in their matches. Milan are going to have to put their pedal to the metal with this. Curious to see. I think Allegri, after seeing what just happened with Fofana, he's likely to go with Fofana in the next start. I just wonder the direction that Milan start to head in. Now the difficult part of Milan's schedule is sort of out of the way, Matt, and I know that's silly to say, but all things considered, They play Lazio twice. Our next 2 matches are against Lazio. We have them in Coppa Italia and we have them in the league. Then we go against Torino, Sassuolo, and then the Supercoppa happens, where we face Napoli in the semifinals there. I forget where. I think it still might be going back to Saudi Arabia. I forget 100%. I'll just look right now. Yeah, it's going to be in Riyadh. So they'll be back in Saudi Arabia for that just in under a month. But Milan have a little bit of a gauntlet here. So looking at the table right now, 2 points behind Roma. Milan have the least amount of losses in the league next to Como, who have 6 draws. So it's a little bit different. Milan have 4. Roma playing very sound. This was one of their better victories as a whole today. Yesterday when I was watching them. I forget when they played. Point was they put in a really good shift. I think Roma has a really good opportunity. We'll see how Gasperini handles the second half of the season. They're right in the thick of it. They really just are. And I just think with each week, Matt, and now we get a chance to see Leao with Pulisic, just build off of that. We kind of want to see them get more consistent because they had the consistency in September. September was a great month, a little bit of inconsistency in October. And obviously November hasn't been the greatest, but there have been 2 major victories. I think moving forward, what Milan ultimately have to do here is just rack up these points, dude. Because say like 2 of those matches against Pisa and Parma shouldn't have happened, right? Give them an extra 4 points. Milan are leading the table by 2 over Roma. And I know you can't really do this like, reflection and revisionist history of how results have gone. But the fact is, like, they should be finishing off these games. They're in these games against Inter. I know Inter had better chances today. Would anyone have told, would you agree that they got utterly dominated? Because I don't think that was the case. I think Inter were the better side for 90 minutes, but it's not like Milan were completely useless this entire time.
I think the biggest thing for Milan that we've grown to quickly know about them, because I think obviously when you get a coach like Max Allegri, you have a more or less of an understanding of how your team is going to play and what the results will more or less look like, is Milan has an identity. Like, when's the last time we looked at a Milan team and said we have a clear-cut identity on as far as how we want to play, how we can play based on the players we have at our disposal? And you look at this team and you have a real clear understanding of how they want to play football. It's counterattack. They're going to defend. They're happy to give and concede that possession, and they want to take those chances in space. We could have had a couple other goals in this game. I think there was 1 or 2 other counterattacks where I think there was one with Pulisic where he has led Rafa a little bit too wide in the first half. And in the second half, we had another opportunity where Rafa was going 1v2 or 1v3, and he tried to play a ball towards the center of the box to Pulisic, and he just couldn't kind of quite link up with there. But Milan, when you look at this team and you look at how Milan are going about their business in these games, you're, as a Milan fan who has maybe detracted the Allegri way of doing things and the Allegri results, and you said, well, I don't want to play with Allegri. Isn't it great when you win like this? And it's not sexy,
No.
but it quickly becomes not just the outlier win and not just, oh, well, this isn't consistent. We've had enough of a sample size with Allegri as our coach to have a pretty good understanding that it's not going to look sexy, but it could be the Milan way of doing things, the Milan way of carrying out their business. And we saw that on many occasions in the Scudetto winning season, right? Where the wins don't always have to look good. All you have to look at is, did they get 3 points? And they did. And they've been doing it on a pretty consistent basis this season. They do have to tidy things up. Yes, of course, the games that we all know against Parma, Cremonese, Pisa, we all get that. But it feels great as a Milan fan to be at this point of the season and to have, again, a clear identity, a clear understanding, and a clear view and picture of what Milan can look like on a given match day. And alternatively, that they can beat you in a couple different ways. They can beat you with those prolific, big star moments. Pulisic, star player, gets a goal. Mike Maignan, your star goalkeeper, captain, heroics in goal. We've had moments with Rafa. We've had moments with Modric this season. So you look up and down this team, it is a team. There's a lot of unity. It's a big collective effort today. But also you see that they do have the names as well that in those given moments can make the difference, can win you a game on their own. And I think you can play and be successful having both of those.
Yeah, really don't disagree with that whatsoever. I think that for Milan, Just getting the victory is all it is.
That's it, guys.
659 people in watching us right now.
Win the games. Just win the games.
If you're on Twitter, please like the video or follow us on our That Milan pod. You could also go and subscribe to us. Very please like, comment on this. If you want to subscribe and donate $1 a month, you're more than welcome to. But all the content is free all the time, obviously, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. 666 in right now. So it is for the Devils. I just got to say, 6 unbeaten is crazy. It is crazy. And I think the crazier part about it, Matt, is that I think we're very obviously just not the better cohesive team. We've been finishing behind Inter for the past couple of seasons by a substantial amount. My goodness, I know I showed the comment earlier. People were saying this was Allegri's 100th victory as Milan manager. So congratulations to him. So yeah. I just think it was a great job.
Sorry, checking my fantasy team for NFL.
You're fine. So any other final comments you guys want to post in here?
Yeah. Let's talk about how we thought Allegri approached his substitutes, because I think that, you mentioned and touched on how Inter brought Andy Diouf and they brought in Boni, who's been one of the better players, at least new signings in Serie A this year. And he's had his moments, right? So the fact that he missed that one chance that Diouf set up for him, I was like, I had some sigh of relief after he skied it over the bar. But I thought that actually Allegri didn't like cave and try to overmanage the game. Again, that's kind of, we talk about, the starting lineup. Who's he starting? Who's he doing with this? Who's he playing in this position or in that position? I think sometimes you look at games like this, and we've seen in previous seasons where coaches just simply mismanage this crucial period of the game. Like the last 15 to 20 minutes where you're up 1-0 and now you're like, oh, do we go defensive? Do we pull off another midfielder or attacker? Do we go defensive? I thought he managed the game extremely well from that sense.
Yeah.
In that he picked the right moments to bring on certain guys. What do you think about that?
Say that last part one more time as we were playing 2%.
No. So like as far as the timing and usage of his bench, how do you think Allegri managed that part of the game? Because I think that could have won or lost the game for us.
So Chris Whittingham and Bonetti had mentioned this in the broadcast at the end on how Allegri waited for Kivu's last change for that. Listen, it is a little bit reactive, sure, but when you're in the lead, you don't have to make the changes. The pressure is on Kivu and Inter to make the changes. What are you going to do in order to combat what Milan's doing, right? Like, I don't know if you noticed, that looked like more of like a 5-4-1 at the end of it, the way Milan were aligned.
Yeah, and Cuckoo was all by himself.
And they had those 4 midfielders, and anyone just burst forward if you have the opportunity to do so, like Loftus-Cheek did, and just try and kill off clock. There is maybe, and we've discussed this, maybe only Antonio Conte, but there is nobody better than sealing off and 1-0. Well, actually, you know what? I'll say this then, specifically with this scoreline. There is no one better in the history of the sport to defend a 1-0 lead like Max Allegri. I like the usage of his bench. I don't think there was really anything he could have done offensively in terms of like in Nkunku, like Santi wasn't on the bench. Nkunku in there for Rafa. Maybe Allegri was just sort of sitting there thinking to himself, yeah, I can't have Rafa taking the ball up the pitch when 8 guys are chasing him again to win the ball back. I think I just rather have someone else who understands the defensive responsibilities that go into sealing off a game like this.
Rafa also had a yellow card too.
Yes, which was a silly yellow card considering all the other fouls in that match. I will also say this. At the end of the day, Arden Yashardi is still waiting on the wings. I think he definitely gets.
He was getting some assignment to come in. I don't know if you saw that.
He was. It was. I think it was just depending upon the situation.
Yeah.
Totally understand not wanting him to bring him in at that point.
Yeah.
In that match, the way it was going. So I understand and respect Allegri's decision there. Yeah, I don't know. There really weren't any other guys that I would be like, yeah, put him in, or Allegri had messed up.
78th minute, he made 2 substitutions. He brought in Ricci for Fofana, and then he brought in Nkunku for Pulisic, and then Rafa came out in the 86th minute for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And we've seen Ruben Loftus-Cheek be utilized in like a stretch role where like Allegri will utilize him as like a not even like a false striker, because like obviously like he's not a striker, he's like a box-to-box midfielder, and we've seen him play as a number 10 in years past at Milan. But someone that is physical enough, has a pretty good touch where if you want to play a ball long to him, he can corral the ball, earn a foul, do things like that. But also, as I mentioned previously, bring the ball forward. Just bring the ball as far away as possible. Be physical on the ball. Be tough to dispossess. And you look at things like that, and it's like, it won't show up in the highlights, but like those little moments, I feel like there were so many little moments in that game today where you look at it and you're like, yeah, like Allegri used every little bit of every quality that he had from the players he selected to get the result. And guys, Luka Modric, another 90 minutes for a player that many people said, well, he can't play 90 minutes in every single match. And I don't think he has, but it's been pretty damn close. I think there's been maybe 1 or 2 matches where he hasn't played the full 90. So again, like he wasn't his best performance by any stretch, but to your earlier point, Martino, when you have guys like Rabiot, you have guys like Modric, they're smart players. They're intuitive. They have that sort of understanding, the way to navigate and read a game and handle things as it comes to them. And I think that's what we saw with Rabiot, who came back from an injury spell. And Milan are getting that. They're getting like their guys back, guys, too. That's huge. You're gonna start seeing Yatashari get opportunities to play. You have guys like Ricci coming in off the bench, and he's had some pretty decent performances when Rabiot was out. So it's a good feeling when Milan's finally getting healthy. We might finally get our full squad back at our disposal, and we're doing so at that very critical part of the season where January comes around, and now all of a sudden, hey, they're well within reach for a Scudetto, and they're healthy. Knock on wood, they're healthy. So a lot has to go right, guys.
Well, even though we were unhealthy
my
for
final
a
point on this, a lot has to go right to win a Scudetto. A lot has to go right to get top 4. There's certain things that you simply can't control when it comes to maybe injuries. Play on the pitch, the selections by the coaches, where you're putting certain players, yes, that obviously is within your control. But man, it feels good to get guys back healthy, ready to contribute, and you have the slew of options at your disposal for any single match you may need them for.
Yeah. I'll say this. Actually not say this. There's a comment here. Guys, the penalty is not right, correct? Okay, so I think in the way the law and the rules and the way calls have been made, I think it's a penalty based off of that.
Yeah, the follow-through is dangerous.
However, if we're really talking and thinking about it, who is being denied a goal scoring opportunity there? Like, that's just like, I'm sorry, like he's swinging in a cross. I think maybe a change of the rules would be it's an indirect free kick in the box. I just think rewarding a penalty for something that was in swinging cross and it was a foul on Pavlovic, absolutely zero denial within that. It's just very strange to me to give a penalty when penalties are so often scored. And I feel like it's almost guaranteeing a team a goal when they weren't even denied one clearly in the first place. I think that's kind of where it annoys me with the rule. I think it was the right call ultimately. Like you just can't stomp on a guy like it's a foul. Anywhere else on the pitch, they're calling that a foul. There has to be a call.
If that happens in the middle of the field, it's a foul. So like in that sense, yes, I agree with you. I think it was the correct call. But
do we like the rule? It's different.
Yeah, because obviously if he's taking a clear shot and he's following through and Pavlovic lands on him on like the follow through of the action, then yeah, obviously, because it's an attempt on goal, or he's maybe preventing with that step another opportunity for a goal. But I don't think there was anybody there was a clear cut chance to score a goal. So it's a moot point at this point, guys. I mean, Milan got the job done. Maignan denied the penalty, but I think it was a correct goal. I would say that.
Sabrina makes a point here. The thing is, he already released the ball. Yeah, you're right, but it was really a bang bang thing. Too. I don't disagree with you. It's just the way the rules are. I think the rules are silly. Italy's interpretation of it and how Serie A goes about things and the FIGC, it's just silly because I think on the reverse of this, if we see a Milan player get stomped on in the box like that, we would all want a penalty. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter because Hakan Çalhanoğlu missed the penalty. I'd say he missed it. It was a good job by Maignan. Stuff like that is just that's sort of the look. In matches like this is sort of the look that you want from a team that is, trying to prove themselves as a true contender. I think that's the case here. So I think Milan really have a good shot to go deep this season and make a challenge for this title. Everyone knows Allegri's favorite month is March. We're basically going to wrap up here in a moment. Sempre Milan guys in here. What's going on? I don't know who it could be. It could be Ali. It could be Steph.
Process
or
of
Isaac.
elimination. It feels like Ali.
Yes.
It could be Steph.
Well, the way he spells they're all. It's definitely not Torgrud.
I think that's actually Steph.
It's not Torgrud. Torgrud would never spell Czech like that.
Because I feel like Ali might be putting out like some content articles and stuff. Oh,
Ali, my friend. Okay. We'll have a good chat on WhatsApp soon. But my goodness, Ali, your thoughts on the penalty? Give us a quick comment there in the chat on what you think. And guys, obviously go and subscribe to Sempre Milan and their podcast. It's fantastic. Pressure on Kivu and Inter now. This is something that I have brought up last episode, Matt. How does Kivu and Inter kind of handle this? Because the sub with Diouf at the end, taking off Barella, really felt Inzaghi-esque in the sense of he's looking towards the next fixture instead of finishing the one in front of him. Kivu's been fine this season. I thought he's done better than a lot of people have anticipated, including myself. I don't agree with those substitutes. I don't get them.
No, I think in games like that too, unless there's an injury or like there's noticeable fatigue we're not made aware of, I'm not taking off a guy like Barella. I'm just not. And the comment from Sempre Milan over here, Ali. Got that Forte penalty. Yeah. I saw Mike Maignan was like kind of in his face, and it's like who would have thought Mike Maignan, the guy has a horrible track record of saving penalties, is to trying to psych out Hakan, who has an amazing track record from penalties. But I guess he's feeling himself after the first.
The last time a penalty was saved in a derby in November, Milan won the Scudetto. Just saying. Shout out Ciprian Tatarusanu. Saved Lautaro's. That's the famous picture of me in the Benacer third kit, if you remember.
Was that at the 40-40 club?
Yes, it was at the 40-40 club. I was like thinking that. I just
shout out Florenzi.
Trying to connect the dots here. So clearly we're going to.
That's why. Yeah,
apparently I missed this part of it. Apparently Acerbi did this.
That's what Rafa was referencing to. He was saying, like, all right, you're pulling my hair, though. Like, that's...
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's
not like the NFL, guys. In the NFL, the hair is part of your uniform.
Yeah.
But in this, it's like you can't just pull the guy down.
Also, tackling is legal.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Incredible job by Milan. 800 people just in at the buzzer. We really got 2 minutes here. If you guys have final comments that you want to make, come and drop them in the comments section.
People. I feel like that's a record.
Hey, Adrian, we thank you and appreciate the $5 gifted. This is just really just goes to help with Stinker and paying him for his fantastic.
That's going towards.
That's what I should have been sent walking like that one. Yeah, the Lautaro thing was so annoying, Ali, because I was saying to myself, why? Like anybody who has jumped in their lives, you don't even have to be athletic. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing when your elbow is that high. You're full of shit if you're pretending like you didn't know. Do I think red, Ali? Not necessarily. I think a yellow. But again, I think...
Did they even look at it? That's my thing. It's like
yeah, so they look at it via VAR, but the ref doesn't go to change it because the VAR referees have to determine whether or not that's a potential red card offense. Right. According to the VAR refs, that would not have been a red card offense. Whether they thought it could be a yellow, sure, but they're not going to VAR for a yellow card offense. They only go for a red card offense. So that is why it didn't go to VAR like that. That's obviously another misconception that a lot of people actually don't know is that just because you don't see the main referee go to VAR, it doesn't mean that VAR has checked something. They're always checking things. They just have to make the decision to tell the main referee on the pitch whether or not to take a look at it to reverse their initial decision. So that is how that works as a whole. Not upset about any more. No, I'm not upset. Shocked by this. It was only because of the fact that they play Atletico Madrid soon this week with the Champions League. But yeah, we're hitting the 40-minute mark here. Santangelo's got to go. I want to wrap it up here as well. We appreciate all the support. It's been immense. Episode on Tuesday.
Crazy, guys.
Episode on Tuesday. We have more guests lined up in the coming weeks. Hopefully get Ali back on as well. Go and check out the Sempre Milan podcast. They post weekly as well. It's just fantastic with him. Torgrud. Go and watch the rest of their YouTube content as well with Stefan Lorenzo, who do go live from time to time.
I'll be listening to the club chat on my way to work tomorrow, guys. Shout out to Sempre Milan once again. I want to make that a point. They do a really good podcast too. Beyond all the coverage with the news and transfer stuff and match review content that they put out, their audio and video format stuff is really, really good too and really informative. So go show them love. Go check it out. If you're like me and have a commute tomorrow, or you're sitting at your desk or whatever you guys do, show some love, subscribe, like it, whatever the case may be, and just support them because their audio and video stuff is great too.
What we think about Salamaker's final question here. I mean, yeah, we always rate him and think he's a fine player who is key in his role. Is he a superstar? No. Is he above average for what he does? Yes. And I think he's integral for a team that wants to win trophies.
I think this was kind of like a performance that we've come to expect from him. Again, like I think he's raised his floor performance where, when you looked at his first tenure at Milan, you had some sort of concern and like you were like, I don't know if this guy's going to maybe be able to cut it in a derby or a big game like this. But he's built up this sort of reputation as being a player that has been pretty well in big games and even in derbies, right? He had the performances against Napoli in the Champions League a couple seasons ago. And, I think that's the mark of a quality starting player for a team like Milan, where it's like you raise the floor. It's like it might not be an exceptional performance, but at least it's gonna help the cause. It's gonna not do anything that's detrimental to the result. And today was a prime example of it. Again, I don't think there was anything noticeable as far as key moments in the game. But even I know I can pinpoint one in the first half where he rushed back after I think losing the ball, and he was able to win the ball back and cut down on Inter going forward. So I thought Salamakers was fine. And as I mentioned previously, guys, I think that the collective performance was there today. I don't thought the exception, of course, of Maignan. I didn't think anyone was exceptional, but I think as 11 players and even the substitutes, Milan did exactly what they needed and what was necessary to win a derby, and they did that.
Yeah. Again, hey, Francesco, thanks for chiming in and saying hello. You guys do good stuff on Tutto Calcio Pod with Dom and your 30 people crew that you have always on StreamYard. So good people over there. Go and check them out if you haven't. Other than that, we appreciate everybody so much who's tuned in. Subscribe, like, comment all your thoughts on this. Go and check out the short form video I posted on our TikTok and Instagram. Will be uploaded to YouTube after the fact. Tuesday, new episode of that Milan podcast. Be sure to tune in then. Other than that, thank you guys so much. Take care.